Hi guys, imagine this for a second. A woman at a bar or the popular girl at high school is approached by a guy. But as soon as she looks at him and notices him in her space, there's a strong repulsion to get away. Maybe it's the way he looks, the way he speaks, or just that feeling that she can't explain that gives her the ick. She's not attracted to him and she tries to turn him down politely. But the guy just does not take the hint. And that's when a rush of emotions and instinct sets in. She wants nothing to do with him. And so she comes off exceptionally strong. She yells at him and then walks away. What you just witnessed is the manifestation of a biological instinct that even women themselves don't fully understand. That reaction isn't random. If any of those signals scream weak, clingy, or unstable, her brain flips into escape mode. At that point, you're not triggering attraction, you're triggering her survival instincts. Over the last 100,000 years or so of human history, and even further back with our ancestors, getting a chance to mate and have offspring was like a harsh competition where only some could win. And if you didn't win, it could mean the end of your family line. So this battle for survival influenced not just who got to have children, but also shaped how humans evolve over time. And that means many weaker, lower quality males were desperate as ever to reproduce, giving rise to the brutal reality of and sexual coercion. If a woman was caught alone in a hut or a cave by a male, she understood in the back of her mind the thin line she was walking on. I mean, sure, she could reject his advances at first, yell at him, and push him away, but the moment he became angry or overcome with lust, there was very little she could do. The males were stronger, taller, and could easily overpower the females into submission. It's a very uncomfortable thought. By undesirable men was a very real threat for women because there was absolutely no way to fight off a male physically. The more unwanted a man was, the more desperate he became. And the more desperate he became, the more dangerous he was. Women evolved to detect that desperation fast because back then, it wasn't just uncomfortable, it was life-threatening. That's why women today still react so strongly to awkward, persistent men who can't read the room. Pan this reality across thousands of years, and you start to see these sexual strategies embed themselves as psychological instincts. Multiple researchers have compared even modern men's persistence in pursuing women as a remnant of this instinct. On the flip side, women have developed emotional responses that drive them to run from these scenarios. After all, every emotion is just a feedback mechanism. And emotions like fear and disgust are feelings that have helped our species keep a distance from potential harm, like a poisonous plant or a dead animal we shouldn't eat. In a similar way, the ick factor to an undesirable man is part of the mate avoidance strategy as it's known in psychology. It's an umbrella term that describes the filter of female sexual selection, which creates a repulsion to inbreeding, sexual contact with unhealthy men, and even men with undesirable traits that the woman does not want in her children. It's translated into a feeling that makes her want to get away. Stress hormones are released, and the woman feels a fight or flight response, similar to the response to a predator. There's a reason women cringe at certain types of men, not necessarily because they're mean, but because they're wired to avoid risk. A man who looks unhealthy, lacks confidence, or acts emotionally off balance is seen as a liability. She doesn't want his instability near her, and she's not going to explain why. She's just going to react. This is a truth that will be rough on a lot of guys, but the reaction of a woman to a guy she actively does not like is to feel a mix of fear, anger, and disgust. These are emotions that stress her out and make her cringe if he even gets too close. And you can see this truth manifest itself in the world of dating for anyone that wants to see them in action. Apart from the scenario I talked about in the beginning, try to think of the last time you saw a female be physically close to a guy she just doesn't like. You almost never see it. Touch and physical closeness are off limits to a guy she feels that repulsion to. If you ever wonder why women often use the word creep to describe a guy that gives her that ick, now you know. So what can a man do to fix the situation after he's given a woman the ick? Here are the steps. First and foremost, this is where most guys screw it up. You feel the rejection, and instead of backing off, you chase harder. That doesn't fix the problem, that confirms the problem. You already gave her a reason to feel repulsed. Now you're doubling down and calling it persistence. You stop, you learn the lesson, and you fix the signal you're sending. So number one, leave her alone and walk away. The first and most respectful action is to recognize her disinterest and physically distance yourself. This not only drives home the fact that you have standards and boundaries, but it also preserves your dignity. Number two, focus on why this may have happened. If you think she was valid in her feelings, reflect on the interaction and try to understand what may have triggered her reaction. Was it something you said, the way you approached her? Or maybe it was a misunderstanding. Pinpoint what made you look like a threat. Ask yourself, did you approach too fast? Did your voice shake? Were you staring too long, or did your face look tense when you spoke? Women pick up on these micro expressions faster than men. So even if you didn't actually say anything wrong, your face might have read something weak. Review the facts, be honest, and adjust. Number 3, improve emotional intelligence to reduce the risk of it happening again. Emotional intelligence is key in understanding and managing not only your emotions, but also noticing emotions in other people. Improving this can help you become more aware of social cues and adjust your approach accordingly. I think these concepts might be hard for a lot of men to digest because they offer limited alternatives when dealing with a woman who simply isn't interested. But understanding how the female mind works when it comes to attraction will at least make you see it from her side. And I believe, and it will also prevent a lot of guys from wasting time chasing a woman that wasn't meant for them from the beginning. This isn't about begging for female validation. It's about fixing the vibe you give off before you even speak. Because whether you like it or not, women react to energy. You can either keep being labeled as off or weird, or you can fix your posture, your tone, and your emotional stability and start walking in like a man who's earned respect. That's when the ick disappears. And if you want to learn how to do this on autopilot so it just becomes a part of who you are, my book Attraction Secrets will give you the blueprint. The link is in the description. So with that being said, until the next video, I'll see you guys later. Bye.